Hi everyone and welcome to another Science with Mrs Scullion video. For today's science investigation, you will need a clear container. This could be glass or plastic. Some oil, enough to half fill your container. Some water, enough for half of your container. A few drops of food colouring. An effervescent tablet. Hi everyone and welcome back to Science with Mrs Scullion. I've got my glamorous assistant here today.
Hi.
And Isla is going to be helping me as we make lava lamps. Okay, lava lamps are really easy to make. You only need 5 different things and they are
a clear container, some water, some oil, food colouring any colour you would like, and an effervescent tablet.
Now the oil that you need to use could be baby oil, it could be sunflower oil, it doesn't really matter. Food colouring, just any colour that you like, whichever's your preference. And the last thing is the effervescent tablet. Now these are normally denture tablets. You can pick these quite cheaply up from the supermarket, or if you wanted something that has a nice smell, you could get some of the orange tablets that are effervescent as well. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so making a lava lamp is really easy. There are just 3 steps that you need to follow. The first one is to take your clear container. Now we've just used an empty jar of sauce. Give it a good clean, peeled off the label, and that's what we're using today. And our first step is
to half fill your container with water.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be exact, just roughly halfway. Once we've done that, we're going to add
oil.
Now when you add the oil, if you fill it almost to the top, but make sure you leave yourself a little gap so that it isn't right to the very top of your container. Now you'll notice that when we added the oil, it didn't sink down and mix with the water. You can see that there are 2 distinct layers. We have our oil and we have our water. Now the reason the oil and the water didn't mix is because the oil is less dense than the water. This is quite a viscous substance and it is less dense, and that means that it will always float on top of the water. Now that's really important for later on in our investigation. Now our next step is to add
the food colouring.
So just a few drops. You don't need to add half a bottle. Just enough to give your water a little bit of colour. Now the food colouring drops right through our viscous oil and falls straight down to our water, and you can see already it's starting to change colour. Now the last step is to add our effervescent tablet. We're going to drop this in and it's going to fall straight through our oil. Now the tablet isn't going to dissolve in the oil because it's too viscousy and too syrupy, so it sticks to the tablet. However, when the tablet hits the water, it's going to start to dissolve, and when it dissolves, it creates
bubbles.
Those bubbles are filled with carbon dioxide, and they'll take some of our food colouring and carry it right up into our oil. The bubbles will pop and the food colouring will fall right back down, creating the cycle for our lava lamps. Now this isn't an instant reaction. It does take a few minutes to get going, so we'll come back in a couple of minutes. So we've left our lava lamp for a couple of minutes, and you can see that the tablet right down the bottom here is really starting to fizz and bubble with those carbon dioxide bubbles. They're rising through the water and going slowly through the oil, and then you'll start to see some of them falling back down again. This just continues. If your tablet stops fizzing, you can always add another one. You can change the amount of water you have to the amount of oil, and the oil will give you a larger area for you to watch the bubbles rise and fall. After a while though, the tablets will stop dissolving in the water. That's because the water has become saturated and it won't allow any more of the tablet to dissolve. At that point, you'll need to start again. A few minutes after we stopped recording, this is how our lava lamp looked. As you can see, our tablet is really dissolving quickly. After about 5 minutes, the reaction has started to slow down and the bubbles are rising and falling at a much slower rate. You can watch more Science with Mrs Scullion videos and stay up to date with school news by following us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter.